Greetings. It's good to be with you. God is hopefully blessing you today, and you'll feel His presence. And if you don't feel His presence, you'll walk by faith until you do. If God has given you peace, then that's His presence. Glory to God. If things are going well, that means God is on your side. God is our defender. We don't have to be worrying about the things and anxiety of what's happening in the world. It's just so sad to see so many policemen being killed. And yet the news media and our president and those in authority are not telling us the truth about these black people killing white people. Sad to say, well, not sad to say, but the last one killed even a black man. So I guess in his mind, he was considering him as a Uncle Tom or something. But yet here we are. They don't even tell you that this person's a black man. Now, if it was a white man, they would have said immediately it was a white man going around killing people. And I don't want to get into all this. But yet we see this racial hate even from our president and from the news media. And now even white people are gathering with Black Lives Matter, who comes on the Twitter and Facebook, and a lot of them saying it was a good thing to kill these kill these cops, these white cops. Kill the pigs. This is like almost the 1960s again. It's just sad to see what's going on. Why? I honestly believe, I know it for a fact, if you read it in the scriptures, you believe the Bible, it's because we left God. We voted in a man that did not believe in God. He came from a hateful church, and yet we still voted him in the second time. It's a sad thing to see people going along with a Democrat who believes in abortion, Christians voting for him when he believes in abortion, murdering children. He has the name of Christianity, he has a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. I even heard in the news this morning where they were sort of having sympathy toward the person that killed these 3 cops in Baton Rouge. Sympathy because he had some rough times in his past. What? That's not an excuse for his hate. I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but it's just so sad that we've become so darkened, so in a place where wickedness is taking place that we can't even recognize evil. We don't even want to say this man's a bad person. This is wickedness. He murdered people willfully. And yet today we have in Pennsylvania, they just passed a bill to spend millions of dollars on drug addicts. Yes, it's nice to be able to help someone stop from overdosing, but they call it a disease now. No self-control today, no responsibility for themselves. They chose to be a drug addict. They chose to want to get high. They chose to do these things. But today we're having so sympathy for the wicked, for the wrong choices that people are making, that if you say anything like I'm saying right now, then you become the bad person. The Bible prophesied about this, that in the last days people will say good is evil and evil is good. How the scriptures are being so fulfilled today. Let's go to Psalms 106. It says in verse 14, but lusted exceedingly in the wilderness and tempted God in the desert. So they lusted after things. They come out of Egypt, they were lusting for the things that they had back then. And what they were really saying, God, you can't provide for me. That's why the next verse says, and tempted God in the wilderness. They were actually saying, God, you can't supply for us. Now look at this. They're free. They've been liberated from bondage, from slavery. But they seem to think that they had it so good back there. And now they have it bad, and they're blaming Moses that they brought them out and they're blaming God as well, but they're free. How many people are free from their sins, but yet they're still hungering for the things of the world? Or they're hungering for natural things, but they're tempting God as if God cannot supply for them. God can supply for you. God's arm is not short that he cannot handle your problems. God is our defender. Glory to God. Yes, there's anxiety today. There's fear today. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, but of power and of a sound mind. You see, love today, natural love, as 2 Timothy 3 speaks about, there will be no natural love in the last days. This hate is taking over. It's a demonic spirit. Satan is the god of this world. And God still allows him, for some reason, still allows him to tempt and to affect this world. You read Ephesians chapter 6 and you'll see it there. But yet we find ourselves here, people just like this, they're forgetting what God has done for them. They're not waiting upon God. They're lusting after things. And then they tempt God as if he cannot do what he says he would do for them. That's trying of our faith. Joseph, in this same chapter before this, in verse 19, 19, it says, until the time that his word came, the word of the Lord tried him. So if you're in a time of trial, wait upon the Lord. Right now, I'm in a time of trial. My family's in a time of trial. If you would pray for my daughter and my grandson, they need a miracle in their lives. Right now, they need one. 7/18/16. That's the date today, today. They need a prayer. They need prayer warriors to pray for them. Somebody was texting and it ran into the back of my daughter's car, and she's 6 months pregnant. And it put her into labor, and it did some things. So we need a miracle. But if you're going through something right now, God's hand is not short. We have to pray. We have to believe. We have to trust God that God is our defender and he will take care of us even when it's in the difficultest times. We don't need to tempt God. Verse 15, and he gave them their request. Now here's the verse I want to get into. He gave them their request. God will answer our prayers sometimes, but yet it's not his will. Because it goes on here, it says, but sent leanness into their heart, into their soul. Leanness here. They were fat maybe in eating the quail and all the things God gave them. Excuse me. But yet here, he sent leanness into their soul. What does that mean? That means that they were fat physically, but spiritually they were lean. They were thin. They're lacking of spiritual growth and spiritual hunger. That word leanness means in the Hebrew, or the word it says it this way, raza. It means to make thin, to waste away, to destroy. So in other words, there's some answers to prayer. If we think we're getting an answer from prayer, but actually it was a prayer out of lust and God allows it to come to us, that answer can be devastating to us. It could bring destruction to our soul because we're not really trusting in God and we're only lusting after the things of the flesh, things of the world. God does not send leanness into us, yet this verse says that, but sent leanness into their soul. That's the end result of us getting a request of prayer that wasn't God's will, but yet we wanted it, so we're reaping what we sowed. There's no spiritual growth there. There's thinness. There's no liveliness. We're not really seeking God. So that leanness comes into us. God will give us what we want at times, but in the same process, waste will come to us spiritually. We'll be spiritually dead. We'll have our own self-confidence, and our needs will only be met because God